Prepare yourselves for a battle of epic proportions between two titans. Feast upon their voices and revel in their words. This is Dueling Ogres.
Hello, Ogres, and welcome to episode 184. Thank you for joining us, as always, on this hellish Thursday evening, Earth date February 28th, 2019. I'm your host, Remington Hitchcock, and with me, as always, my co-host, Brandon Full. Say hello, Brandon.
Hello, Remington.
What?
The way you said hello.
Did you like it? Should I do
was
it all
good.
the time?
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
That'll be the new intro.
Yeah.
It still sounds so weird hearing you say 2019.
Did I say 2019?
Yeah.
Okay.
As you should.
I had to make sure, because I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is, well, I mean, it hasn't been very long. It's one of those things that we as humans really struggle with. It seems like every year that goes by and we have to scratch out 2018 when we meant to write 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things that I am cognitive of, but I never remember when it's time.
Well, after the New Year's when you do it.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, whenever I write the date.
Yeah.
And I write 2018 and immediately recognize my mistake. But I should know it by now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's been 2 months.
I don't know. I think it's just because as you get older, time goes by so much faster.
That's true. It does. A year is no time when you're out of high school.
Yeah.
You're just like, all of a sudden, like, doing the podcast. We've been doing the podcast for, what, 5 years?
Mm-hmm. Coming up on 5 years.
Coming
now,
up on 5 years, yeah. And, like, we don't even know what our anniversary is.
No, we have no
I
idea.
have no clue. And the question is do we go off of the anniversary of the first episode that's actually published, which is episode 8? Because 1 through 7 were kind of rubbish.
Yeah.
Or should we go off of the original first cut of the first episode, you know?
I still think episode 1 would be interesting to release.
I mean, I don't have a problem releasing them.
They're just, we were using the snowball mic, so the audio's not super great.
And we were a little less socially conscious.
Oh, were we? Is that part of the problem?
Yeah, that's part of the problem. We were less socially conscious, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There were some jokes that were, I mean, they weren't bad. They weren't racist or hateful, but they were like, ooh, cringy.
Yeah,
you know?
by today's standards.
Yeah.
I have a feeling they were mostly coming from me, too, because I tend to...
Some you, some me. I mean, I filter myself pretty heavily.
Yeah. I mean, the stuff you say off air about, like...
Oh, God. And then there was the running gag where you made me out to be a racist every episode. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff.
Made you out to be, yeah.
Fuck you, you piece of shit. I'm not a racist on the podcast.
Exactly. Touché.
Yeah. But no, I don't really have a problem releasing those. If you want me to.
I don't know. I'd be curious. I want to at least listen to them now.
Yeah.
Now that you say
You're
that.
like, oh, I don't know.
I remember on the first episode, you had a Luke Skywalker toy, and we talked about this Luke Skywalker toy that you had got.
Yeah.
I think we made jokes about you jerking off on it.
Yes. Or where I wouldn't jerk off on it because Mark Hamill isn't particularly a good-looking fellow.
Oh, okay.
That was what it was. Although, I kind of retract that statement. When he was just doing voice acting and he had kind of put on some pounds, he wasn't that good looking of a guy. But when he grew out the beard and lost some weight, he was back to being a good looking fellow.
Back to being a handsome lad.
Yeah, exactly. And the beard covers up. It's a very nice Skywalker beard. I liked it.
So you're saying now with the weight loss and the beard, you would manipulate yourself to Luke Skywalker again?
Manipulate myself. That's a good phrasing for that. I like that. Yeah, totally.
It's good to know. You heard it here first, listeners.
Yep. I think that was the first time that I did my Mark Hamill Joker impression too on the podcast.
Was episode 1?
Yeah. If it was episode 1 that we talked about that doll.
I'm pretty sure it was because we talked. I remember getting up and getting the Mark Hamill figure
Yeah.
out of your bedroom.
Yeah.
Man, that was a fun time, that first episode. We had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to listen to it and maybe we can release it as bonus
Nostalgia.
content or something.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad.
Once we start our Patreon,
Yeah.
we can torture people with our first episode.
Give us $1 and you get our first episode. Yeah, I'm fine with that. You can see how completely cringeworthy we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Oh, I got the burpees.
What'd you eat?
We had hot dogs the other night. So we had stopped by Aldi and I picked up some Skyline chili.
Oh, yeah.
Because I like Skyline chili.
I love Skyline chili.
Do you? Good.
Yeah, I do.
Hey, I'm glad. Ginger does not. She can't stand the shit. So, and she used to work for a bar that had the recipe. They had come by the recipes somehow. Like, the guy knew the people who owned Skyline or whatever. So,
Oh, okay.
Or they had purchased the rights to use it. And for those of you who don't know what Skyline chili is, and I'm sure there's a lot of you, it is is it Chicago or Pennsylvania?
Chicago.
Illinois thing. Because I don't know what Skyline is, right?
Yeah, Chicago has a Skyline, so that's what I'm assuming.
I have a Skyline. I can look out my window right now and see a Skyline. But I digress. That was going nowhere fast. So they had the recipe. I was explaining what Skyline is. It is a really heavily flavored. There are a lot of spices in it,
Yes.
including chocolate. There's chocolate in Skyline chili.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Uh-huh. In the recipe, there's cocoa powder. It's not chocolate, it's cocoa powder, but it's chocolate, right?
Yeah.
And just a myriad of other, there's chili powder, there's cumin, and just blah, 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 blah. There's a plethora of stuff. So she had to smell it frequently. And she's not a fan of a lot of those spices anyway, especially not in that combination, right? Like, she likes Mexican food and those Mexican style spices, which like cumin would be.
Yeah.
But just in like tacos. So, and
not
then
outside of tacos.
Yeah. So I found a knockoff recipe of Skyline chili and made it myself. And it turned out really well. You cook the ever-loving hell out of the hamburger. Like, you basically, you almost boil it in the broth that you make.
Okay.
And you break it up to where it's just basically mush.
Yeah.
It turned out really well, though. I ended up having to throw half of it away that was left, just because you can only eat so much of it before you're like, okay, I'm really done, because it's a punch in the face of flavor.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it is very heavy-handed in the flavor department.
I can eat a can.
Yeah.
Any more than that, and I don't think I could handle it.
Right. So I had made it was probably about 3 cans worth, and I just couldn't get it all et.
Yeah.
So, to pull the West Virginia vernacular out.
Couldn't get it et.
Couldn't get it all et. So, where was I going with this, Brandon?
Why you were burping?
The sneezes. The sneezes threw me off. That's what it was.
Well, because Skyline is made initially to be put on pasta, is how they use it.
That's where I was going with this. So, I had some left over from the hot dogs in the bowl, because I'd only used a very little bit on my hot dogs, right?
Right.
And I made some macaroni. And I threw the macaroni into the rest of my Skyline chili and mixed it up and threw some taco cheese on top of it. A taco blend,
Yeah.
So I threw a bunch of that on there.
That sounds delicious.
Oh, it was. It was fantastic. It was the best thing. But that Skyline chili stays with you.
Yeah.
So
I'm super hungry, so it's making me hungry right now.
My most sincere apologies, sir. So how have you been this week?
I've been doing pretty well.
Yeah?
Yep.
That's good. Anything exciting or fun happen, or are you just kicking life in the teeth and
just bebopping along, Remington?
Just bebopping along? Gotta get that head movement in there.
I like to say I'm kicking life in the teeth.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How hard?
Not hard enough to break any teeth, but pretty hard.
Okay. You just gotta be a little more flexible, Brandon.
Yeah.
That way you can get a better swing.
God, I'm not flexible at all anymore.
Yeah?
I try to do stretches and stuff, but
do yoga.
Don't tell me what to do.
Do it.
No.
Do it now.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I need to try to do yoga or something. Need to work out a little bit more.
Yeah, it's great. Oh man! So for those of you who are in listener land, I just hit my vape again, and I was running out of fluid, so I grabbed a random one, and it's a 100% VG, so it's real thick and viscous. It's like a syrup.
Ew.
Yeah, but I imagine. See, I don't know a lot about vaping or the vaping culture or all of that. I just use it to get the nicotine in, and it's. I guess the higher VG makes the bigger clouds. That's what I've gathered because my clouds are a lot bigger.
Okay.
And I'm not the kind of person who's like, oh, I want to blow a big old vape cloud. I just don't give a shit, right? But it's a little disconcerting because it's this big old thing.
Yeah, it's gonna get smoky in here.
It's weird, but I mean that's okay. It kind of breaks up the light a little bit. So, have you been playing any new games or anything, or continuing with any old stuff, or working on more D&D shit, or?
I've been working on more D&D stuff. I'm always doing that.
Uh-huh.
I also picked up Final Fantasy Tactics for the Nintendo DS.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I've been playing that again. I haven't gotten super invested in it like I typically do in those games.
Yeah.
I guess just because it's handheld, I'll play like 1 or 2 missions a night. And
Right.
that game you can easily sink 40, 50 hours into.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
So
I miss playing that. That's the one that we used to play over at Jeremy's, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Crystal Chronicles.
Was that Crystal? Are you sure?
Or no, Tactics. We used to play it on his PlayStation 1.
Yeah, because you could hook up the DS.
No, that was Crystal Chronicles.
That was Crystal Chronicles. Okay. Damn it. I never remember things, Brandon.
No, Tactics is like an isometric third-person battle system.
Okay.
Where you have jobs and you level up that way.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's hands down one of my favorite games. The original one for the PS1.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then going on from there, I love all of them.
Yeah. I still haven't really ever got into the Final Fantasy stuff, aside from Crystal Chronicles, obviously. So,
which is funny because that's considered one of the worst Final Fantasy games.
Well, I mean, it was more the social aspect. Like, we could play with friends if we wanted to.
Yeah.
So, that's what I liked.
I missed out on that. I never played with you guys.
Did you not? I thought you had played at least once. I remember you were there one day, and maybe you didn't
may have
play
been
for some
sitting and watching
for some reason, for some unknown reason. Probably because you secretly hated us.
Yeah, well, because I just thought that I was better than you guys.
Yeah, that's all it was. Yeah. And now you still think you're better than me.
Mm-hmm.
So, not much has changed.
No. We're the same people we always were.
That's right. We've not grown as human beings in 20 years.
I wouldn't want it any other way, Remington.
No, me either. I am surprisingly unchanging, I feel like.
You don't feel like you've grown as a person?
I do feel like I've grown as a person. But I think at my core, I'm still pretty much what I've always been. So, I mean, I've ebbed and flowed, and I've learned, and I've added those experiences to my core, but I don't feel like my moral outlook has really changed much.
Okay.
I've found out more being placed in situations, but I still think that if I would have found that out earlier in life, my outlook would have still been the same on it.
It wouldn't have changed your opinion at all.
Right. No, I don't think it would have.
I would say that I am 20% the same person that I was, say, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That I have maybe an 80% change rate.
Oh, wow.
In the way that I view stuff.
That's pretty impressive. Like, you're basically saying you are almost completely a different person than you were when you were young.
Almost, yeah. I mean, I still have a lot of the same mannerisms and stuff.
Sure.
I'm still the same person at my core. But a lot of like what I do and how I understand people and how I understand the world around me, I think has changed quite a bit.
That's interesting. We got really existential there for a hot second.
Yeah. Let's get back to jokes about dicks.
Yeah. The child at Hardberg. Or I just have a lot of children's hearts.
Yeah. You just keep them in a box.
No, I mean, I like, helping children out, Brandon, you sicko.
Helping them out of their hearts?
Yes.
I like to think that my life is the Wild Wasteland perk. Because there's just weird shit constantly going on around me.
How much of that is your own doing, do you think?
50%.
50%? That's a pretty hefty percentage.
Yeah, I bring weirdness to me.
Yeah.
I put myself in a lot of weird situations.
Yeah.
That then I'm like, why is this happening? I do dumb shit and then question why it's happening. Or I allow dumb shit to happen to me.
Right.
With a smile on my face and then question it later. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Or sometimes during.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that happened recently. I remember that. Yeah. Without pulling anything out, but
yeah. I messaged you guys like, why am I doing this?
I don't know. You shouldn't, but whatever argument helps you sleep at night.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, geez. Well, I haven't really been doing a whole lot.
Just still chugging along at the college stuff?
Yeah, still doing the school thing. So nothing really new. I think I'm finding a little bit more of a balance. And I was really kind of struggling trying to figure out when I should do the podcast because I know that the school stuff should come first.
Yeah.
But I really hated that it's come to taking me almost a week later to release the podcast. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just start editing, basically as soon as we're done. Probably right after dinner. I'll make dinner and then I'll come up and I'll start editing the podcast and get it 50% done and finish it tomorrow.
Okay.
Depending on how much I have to get into tomorrow,
Yeah.
Because I don't have school again until Monday. We have a spring break coming up.
Oh, nice.
So I do have some things that I need to get done and turned in for English class, which English is proving to be the class with the most work, but at the same time, there's no real time frame. And I think I explained that last week.
Yeah, that you can basically just turn in the papers as many times as you want.
Yeah, and basically whenever. But he has to have grades in, I think, before spring break.
Okay.
So I need to at least get the 2 or 3 papers written that I have to write. A couple of them are 2-pagers, and then the big one is I don't think it's the process paper. I already wrote that one, but I don't remember which one it is. But anyway, I got to do that one. It's on the syllabus. I'll read it later. So I've got to get those done and in the next couple of weeks. I think March 11th is the last day before spring break, I think.
So you've got like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I've got 2 weeks. So not a big deal. So if I get the podcast done and get it mostly ready to put out by Sunday, then I feel like I'm doing okay.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I feel like I'm getting my feet under me a little bit better about it.
That's good. You're finding time. You're finding your kind of rhythm with your time now.
Yeah. And my grades are floating around a middle high B.
Oh, nice.
In most of my classes, so that's good. The classes aren't difficult. And it's interesting to me looking back on, I was a smart kid, but I didn't apply myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I never turned in homework. And in school, you had a lot of homework.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm considerably more homework than I do in college. So while there are far fewer things to turn in that can affect your grade, if you at least do those things, chances are pretty good you're going to end up with a B.
Yeah.
So unless you're really, looking into the hardcore classes like, advanced maths or advanced biology or any of these sort of things, nursing, I would imagine, because there's a lot of information that you have to pack your brain with. Mm-hmm. I'm doing business administration. It's not difficult. It's not.
Not so far anyway.
Yeah, not so far. Not in the first semester, not in the first year, I don't even think. Mm-hmm. So, because I've thumbed through most of my books and just kind of looked to see, where I may go, and none of it is particularly difficult. So, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Like I said, that you're finding your footing a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's definitely making me feel a little more relaxed.
Yeah, you seemed kind of stressed out as far as Remington stressed out goes.
Yeah, where I hide it all behind a smile and get a little snippy.
Yeah. Well, just mentioning that you were having trouble finding time to do everything and that you were bad at time management. I kind of picked up from that it was something that was worrying you.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's starting to fall into place. I'm feeling more comfortable.
Well, good.
Mm-hmm. So, want to move on to some stories?
Sure, let's do some stories.
All right. Open her up.
First one I have, and this is one that you had also, the Tick Season 2 trailer dropped.
Yes. So, I'm pretty excited about this.
I loved the first season, so I'm really looking forward to the second season.
Did you finally get around to watching it? The first season?
Yeah,
Okay.
I watched it before you did. I finished it in like 2 days.
Oh, that's right, because you sat down and binged it. I was working at the time still.
Yeah.
And I think I was watching a couple other series at work. And I kept forgetting to watch The Tick all the way through. But I did watch it all the way through.
You did finish it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was good. I really enjoyed it. All right, so we'll play it for everybody out there in Chatland.
Yesterday you bested your nemesis. Today you wake anew, ready to begin following the hero's way.
I think you're right, Tick.
What?
I'm in.
Really?
Yeah.
Fantastic!
I have been itching to hone that danger reflex of yours.
And quick.
What?
We'll be working on that one a lot, chum.
City's been freed from the terror.
New villains will plunder. New heroes will rise.
I'm with Aegis. We're reopening the local Aegis branch.
Next stop, testing. Stand in the yellow square.
The yellow square says danger.
Yes, that's the one.
Sage, the supernumerary. I wield the mystic power of the blind eye.
Blind? It's staring right at me.
Everyone keeps talking about this new wave of heroes.
Well, this is a little fun.
Right?
Well, I'll give them a wave. I'll give them a damn tsunami.
Miss Lint is continuing the spree of evil.
It's a spreevel!
Oh, that's what I should have named it. The episode, it's a spree.
Okay.
I love
Getting a mission
Crash.
ready.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
You're so up for a mission.
First rule of the club is shut up. He runs hot.
Hello, boys.
I'm really grateful that I met you all, and I really want to help you not go extinct.
I feel like there's a but after that.
Ron Starr was saying we should do a team up.
Love the team ups.
Who doesn't love a team up? I need to kill. You need a hug.
What was that?
Hug fight!
We got more power together.
Hug fight! There we go.
Professionalism.
You always forget one thing.
Yeah.
It's just, there's...
We've got like 10 things going over there.
I know.
At least.
I mean, I feel like I do a pretty good job of managing it. Most
Yeah,
of the
I would
time.
say so.
And we got started at a decent time, too.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. So, yeah, I'm really excited about this. Is April 5th is when it comes out. It's 10 episodes, if I remember correctly. And I will make time to watch it, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good series. I need to buy, like, a Fire Stick or something to plug into the projector.
Oh, can you not get Amazon through that?
Can't get it through, like, the TiVo, no.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
that's what you're running through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. The Fire Sticks are like $35.
Yeah, they're not much.
expensive at all.
No.
With a remote. I saw that ad today.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
You can click the link down in the description below and probably get one. I don't have any Amazon tags to throw into the chat. No American Maid or Sewer Urchin. No, we haven't seen either of them yet. I don't know how familiar you are with the comics themselves, or if you're just talking about the cartoon, DS Spot or D Spot. There we go, D Spot. I had to work it out. I had to actually say it out loud in order to get it. So, I never read the comics myself.
Mm.
So I don't know if in the comics she was referred to as American Maid, or if they had Sea Urchin as well, or if those were creations of the cartoon.
I don't know, because I know American Maid was in the Patrick Warburton Tick.
No, she went under a different name.
Oh, that's right, she did.
Yeah, and they changed
Deflator Mouse
to Batman Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But what is his name? The creator.
Dolph Lundgren.
It's not Dolph Lundgren.
Is it Ed something?
Ben Edlund. There we go.
I knew there was an Ed in there somewhere.
Yeah. Pretty neat looking guy, actually. This is a younger picture of him.
Huh.
Yeah.
He's interesting.
Yeah, he's got nice, longish hair.
He looks like the kind of guy who would create an indie comic.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. What did they call her in... I don't know. I remember... oh, man, I forgot about that. Who was the first actor to play Hellboy? Ron Perlman.
Mhm.
Ron Perlman was in the first live action one.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Yeah. So
I
can't show you guys because my phone's too far away, but
he was the sort of abusive superhero to his
yeah. Sidekick.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, still loving Peter Serafinowicz as the Tick. They gave him, or there is a third costume now. So if you may have noticed, the first pilot costume was really crunchy, which we had talked about several podcasts ago.
It looked gross.
Yeah. I guess more carapace-y.
Yeah, carapace is the right word.
Yeah, I think that's what we called the episode, was more carapace or something like that. The second iteration was more sleek, had more muscles, and it had definite airbrush painting and such on it. This one is a little more muted. It's still got the muscle structure inside of it. So, making Peter Serafinowicz look more muscular. But it looks like the fabric itself is almost that mesh stuff that you'd see in sports clothes, where it breathes really well.
That's what it seems like a lot of superhero movies have been going towards.
Yeah.
With the way they do their costumes, is that weird mesh stuff.
Yeah. If you want to really throw yourself down an interesting well on the internet, start looking up movie fabric that they use in movies for costumes and such, because there's some really neat stuff out there, for meeting certain purposes, like breathable spandex stuff and these different kinds of weaves. Yeah, I know it's a weird thing. You're giving me this blank stare of
this is a strange topic,
but it's true. I mean, it's super interesting stuff if you can find the interest in it.
How did you get down this rabbit hole to begin with?
Adam Savage.
Oh, from Mythbusters?
Yeah. He's got his own YouTube channel. The name escapes me at the moment. And he'll show off, building costumes that he uses every year at Comic-Cons. And he'll go and visit people, and he has his own collection of movie props and costumes. And he just gets excited about the actual process or the materials.
Oh, okay.
So you kind of get fed this, if somebody is excited about something, you want to be excited about it too.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the reason why I learned so much about mattresses, is because the person who was teaching me was excited about it. So I was interested in learning because I was feeding off of their excitement.
Do you think you'll retain your mattress knowledge for the rest of your life?
That's an excellent question, because I was thinking about that the other day in speech class, because we have to do a persuasion speech at the end of the semester. And, I was in sales. So I was thinking about doing a persuasion speech selling everybody a mattress. Just because it would be funny to me.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So I don't know. I may do that. I may not. But I won't, depending on how much I actually remember, or if I can remember my sales pitch, then, I might do just fine in that.
Do you think you'll go back to sales after college?
Well, I always liked retail. And part of the reason why I'm doing business administration is because if all else fails, I'll at least have the degree behind my name to get a management position in retail.
Yeah.
Because I do like retail. I like meeting people. It's not exactly aspiring to much, but, like I said, it's more of the kind of fallback thing. I'd like to focus on accounting if I can get my brain to go that route, just because we will have in the next couple of years, our public debt offices are going to be hiring a lot of new people, and they'll need accountants.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can at least get to a position where I have a background in accounting, public debt is a good place to be, because you make decent money and you have good benefits.
Yeah.
So as long as you don't get furloughed by the government. just because somebody wants to build a wall and nobody wants to play along. But I digress.
We're walking dangerously close to politics.
Well, and the long and short of it is, wall or no wall, I don't care. Don't shut down the government, on president or otherwise. Like, this is important shit. This is a whole country we're talking about.
Yeah.
Don't throw a hissy fit until you get what you want.
Shut down the government for the longest government shutdown in our history.
Yeah, it's just everybody needs to be more willing to work together.
Did you see that, like, the damage that was done to national parks in just the time that the government was shut down? They're projecting is going to take like 15 years to undo.
Oh, wow. That's
because
crazy.
there were no park rangers, so people went in and were littering everywhere and destroying stuff and cutting shit down.
God. And that's the other thing. Like, if for some reason we do have to have a governmental shutdown, have some fucking respect for your society.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just go into the parks and act like fucking Neanderthals. In fact, Neanderthals would probably have a more profound respect for the nature that they're surrounded by.
Yeah, they'd worship the trees and shit.
Exactly. Fucking people. Jesus.
Yeah, I know. I was very disheartened to see that news.
It makes me want to slap people. But that can take us into one of my stuff. I brought a little eco news today.
Ooh.
So if we're done with the tick?
Yeah, I think we're done. April 5th, watch it. It'll be good.
Yep.
On Amazon Prime, check out the first season.
If you don't have Amazon Prime, you can get a free month. If you go to our website, duelingogres.com, and click through any of our Amazon affiliate links, that'll give us a little kickback if you get Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So you can get a free month, I believe, still, clicking through our links, and just type in Prime and sign up. Easy. Easy peasy.
Do it. It couldn't be easier. Or better for us.
Right. So speaking of littering, this is kind of along those lines. For those of you who don't know, China was one of the main sources where we exported our recycled goods. Something like 40% of the recycled goods that came out of the United States went to China so they could break it down and reuse it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I just assumed we did all that here.
Exactly. We don't. So China, in an effort to deal with their own waste problems, said, no more. We're not going to take any more of this stuff. The conscientious citizens of Philadelphia continue to put their pizza boxes, plastic bottles, yogurt containers, and other items into recycling bins. But the past 3 months, half of these recyclables have been loaded onto trucks, taken to a hulking incineration facility, and burned, according to the city's government. It's a situation being replicated across the U.S. as cities struggle to adapt a recent ban by China on the import of items intended for reuse. About 200 tons of recycled material is sent to the huge Cavanta incinerator in Chester City, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philly, every day since China's import ban came into practice last year, the company says.
So they're just burning it?
So they just have a big incinerator and they're just burning it. Some experts worry that burning plastic recycling will create a new fog of dioxins that will worsen an already alarming health situation in Chester.
Yeah, you would think so.
Mm-hmm. Nearly 4 in 10 children in the city have asthma, while the rate of ovarian cancer is 64% higher than the rest of Pennsylvania, and lung cancer rates are 24% higher, according to state health statistics.
Holy shit.
Yeah. That is an insane increase in percentage.
The 4 in 10 children having asthma is crazy by itself.
Yeah. The country generates more than 250 million tons of waste a year, according to the EPA, with about a third of this recycled and composted. Until recently, China has been taking about 40% of U.S. papers, plastics, and other recyclables, but this trans-Pacific waste route has now ground to a halt. In July 2017, China told the World Trade Organization it no longer wanted to be the endpoint for Yang Laji, or foreign garbage, with the country keen to grapple with its own mountains of waste.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah. There isn't much of a domestic market for U.S. recyclables. Materials such as steel or high-density plastics can be sold on, but much of the rest holds little more value than rubbish, meaning that local authorities are hurling it into landfills or burning it in huge incinerators like the one in Chester, Pennsylvania, which already torches around 3,500 tons of trash, the weight equivalent of more than 17 blue whales every day. I know, what a weird comparison.
measurement, yeah. They're like, okay,
they're burning 17 blue whales worth of recyclables. I guess you have to throw the worth of recyclables in at the end.
I wonder what that is in elephants.
Right?
Like the blue whale to
I don't know, hold
conversion.
on. Okay, Google. What's the weight of a blue whale?
Blue whale typically has a weight of 300,000 pounds.
Okay, Google. What's the weight of an elephant?
Elephant species African bush elephant typically has a weight of 13,000 pounds.
Okay, so let's go with 13,000. So 13,000 divided by 300,000. I did that backwards, but...
Yeah, I was going to say.
300,000 divided by 13,000. So 23 elephants equal 1 blue whale times 17. So that's 392 elephants.
So they're burning 392 elephants worth of trash every day.
Yes.
That's insane.
Of African elephants, which is racist. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. Oh.
That's African American elephant, right?
Oh, okay. That's fair then. So this article goes on. This was found on Wired, but let's see, if I remember correctly, this original story was published by The Guardian, and it's reproduced on Wired as part of the Climate Desk collaboration, which was this really neat thing that I took a look at because I didn't know what it was. Apparently, it's this conglomeration of multiple companies who will share each other's eco news, climate news, to
boost the signal, pretty much?
Yeah, basically, yeah. There are higher than normal rates of heart disease, stroke, and asthma in Chester, which are all endpoints for poor air, says Marilyn Howarth, a public... Howarth? Maybe? Howarth, Howarth, a public health expert at the University of Pennsylvania who has advised Chester activists for the past 6 years. She added that residents now risk a worsened exposure to pollution due to increased truck traffic rumbling through their streets, bringing recycling to the plant. Once burned, plastics give off volatile organics, some of them carcinogenic. There we go. My cadence was off. It was bothering me. Carcinogenic. It is difficult to link any single case of cancer, heart disease, or asthma directly to a particular source. However, the emissions from Cavantas contain known carcinogens, so they absolutely increase the risk of cancer to area residents. Paul Gilman, Cavantas chief sustainability officer, says... The unfortunate thing in the United States is that when people recycle, they think it's taken care of, when in actuality, it was largely taken care of by China. When that stopped, it became clear we just aren't able to deal with it. Cavanta and its critics agree that the whole recycling system in the U.S. will need to be overhauled to avoid further environmental damage. Just 9% of plastics are recycled in the U.S., with campaigns to push up recycling rates obscuring broader concerns about the environmental impact of mass consumption, whether derived from recycled materials or not.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and that's just it. I think, I recycle. Vienna they have a recycling initiative. You can go to the city building and pick up recycle bins to put your recycling in, and they encourage it. I don't know what our recycling facility looks like. I don't know if they were part of, and even still, if they were part of this, that was shipping most of it off and just keeping the shit that we could break down and reuse. Now they have this influx of stuff that they are not capable of using. So it makes you wonder what was happening to the stuff that I was throwing out as well. And for me, this is really interesting. It used to be a milkman would bring you milk in bottles right to your door and deliver milk in bottles. You would use that milk and you would put the bottles back out for him to pick up next time.
And he would take and clean out those?
He would take them. He would clean them if needed. Most of the time, if you were a responsible milk owner, you would clean the bottles yourself and put them out for him. That being said, cleaning a milk bottle would not be a huge concern. But we have this throwaway mentality now because plastics became a thing and they immediately took over the market. Everything is put into plastic. Everything is put into paper boxes that have plastic inside of them in the case of foodstuffs.
Yeah.
You see a lot of glass bottles, glass jars, tin cans, which are actually aluminum cans. Aluminum is very recyclable. You can absolutely recycle that, and we still use that. The plastics are the big thing, I feel like. Paper, I imagine that recycling paper goods is a lot more time consuming. And if you have a large influx of it, because you have to take the paper and you have to basically soak it.
Yeah,
you have to
it to pulp, right?
Yeah, you have to shred it. You have to wet it down, and then you have to squeeze it out into something that can be used again. And when you shred it, you have to like break it down into next to nothing. Like it would be like grabbing a handful of fluff, and then they compress that into whatever they compress it into.
Mm-hmm.
So recycled paper towels, new recycled boxes, etc., and so on. I had another article that I didn't actually pick up where the quote was, "We are flushing Canada's forests down our toilets," because apparently a lot of our toilet paper comes from Canadian lumberjacking.
Okay.
So interesting. Makes you want to buy a bidet. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Or just somebody to spit water into you.
Yeah. I mean, I'll hire you for that job if you want, Brandon. Do you want to spit water at my asshole?
I thought you'd never ask.
So yeah, I mean, it's a sad state of affairs, and we don't necessarily have the infrastructure to deal with it.
Yeah, it's surprising to me, although I guess it's not that surprising.
Right.
That we're not prepared to do our own recycling. I mean, the U.S. outsources so much stuff that's why it's not surprising to me, but at the same time, it's crazy that...
Yeah, you thought that the infrastructure was better.
Yeah, I just assumed that we were doing our own recycling, that we had recycling plants.
Yeah.
Which we do, but only, was it 40% is the recycling that we do and 60% is what we send out?
No, we were sending out 40% of our recyclable waste. So, or at least China was taking 40% of it.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean that we were recycling 60%. That just means that some of it was being recycled. Some of the stuff that we could recycle was, but anything else that they weren't taking was just going into the landfill.
And they're just burning it.
Or burning it, yeah.
Which is nuts that they would do that with plastic.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing. I mean, have you ever thrown away a battery, Brandon?
Mm-hmm.
You know that's not the way to do it?
Yeah, I do.
It's one of those things where there is some point where people draw the line with how inconvenienced they are by what they have to do. Like a battery is a small thing. And you say, well, it's just a small thing. I'm just throwing away a couple of batteries. You're one of 6 billion people just throwing away one battery.
Yeah.
So that's up. Yeah. So if you really picture that and wrap your head around it, that's 6 billion batteries, 12 billion batteries being thrown into waste, corroding, killing plants and animals around, burdening our soil with chemicals that it can't properly get rid of, that gets washed out by the rain into our water systems, come back to our water treatment plants that are not necessarily set up to filter out the man-made chemicals. They take real good care of the other stuff, but there might be some, whatever leaking through.
So we're just fucked. Environmentally, we're just fucked.
Yes and no. All it really takes is more drive to be conscious about it, because there are ways to properly dispose of batteries. There are ways to properly dispose of your plastics or your electronics. Those systems are in place, and we can recapture stuff, which is creating tons more jobs. We open up new plants that can handle the influx that we're not sending to China anymore. That creates new jobs, and all of these things could be done as long as the lens gets focused in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
too many people are worried about this and that and the other, and they're not worrying about the things that will actually keep us living on this planet.
We just, like you said, though, we don't have the infrastructure to do it.
Right, but in 15, 20 years, we could have.
Yeah.
And
we could, but we're not.
Exactly, and that's the point. We could, but we're not. And that's the problem.
So we're fucked, basically. Comes back to my pessimistic outlook that we are fucked.
I will address your pessimism then. Okay?
Okay.
So my next story, I'm just going to lead right into it because it's part of this whole eco discussion that I have. So there is a satellite that NASA had put up that's been taking pictures of the Earth for years, and I'll get into like the specifics of what it's taking. The world is literally a greener place than it was 20 years ago.
Ooh.
And the data from the NASA satellites have revealed a counterintuitive source for much of this new foliage: China and India.
Huh.
The effect stems mainly from ambitious tree planting programs in China and intensive agriculture in both countries. In 2017 alone, India broke its own world record for the most trees planted after volunteers gathered to plant 66 million saplings in just 12 hours.
Wow. What is that in blue whales?
This new insight was made possible by a nearly 20-year-long data record from a NASA instrument orbiting the Earth on 2 satellites. It's called the Moderate Resolution Imaging Spectroradiometer. Yes, Spectroradiometer, or MODIS. And its high-resolution data provides very accurate information, helping researchers work out details of what's happening with the Earth's vegetation down to the level of 500 meters, or about 1,600 feet on the ground. Taken all together, the greening of the planet over the last 2 decades represents an increase in leaf area on plants and trees equivalent to the area covered by all the Amazon rainforests.
Ooh.
There are now more than 2 million square miles of extra green leaf area per year compared to the early 2000s, which amounts to a 5% increase, which
is pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. This long-term data lets us dig deeper, said Raman Namani, a research scientist at NASA's Ames Research Center and co-author of this new work. When the greening of Earth was first observed, we thought it was due to a warmer, wetter climate and fertilization from added carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, leading to more leaf growth in northern forests, for instance. Now, with the MODIS data that lets us understand the phenomena at really small scales, we see that humans are also contributing.
So this does address my pessimism in a way.
Exactly. And it somewhere in the article they actually say that this I don't know if I didn't highlight it, but Namani goes on to say once people realize that there's a problem, they tend to fix it. In the 70s and 80s in India and China, the situation around vegetation loss wasn't good. In the 90s, people realized it, and today things have improved. So it's moving at a slow pace, but it's getting there. The problem becomes, when are we going to see that it's a real problem that actually needs to be addressed?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's kind of the point of having a venue like this, like a podcast or a television show, or, being on Twitch and telling people and showing people that this is a thing that we should look at. You should get a hold of your local government and see what they were doing with the recyclables. Are they affected by this China shutdown, and what can we do as a society to improve that?
Yeah, the problem is, humans move slowly, especially in stuff like this.
Yeah.
The problems are quickly outpacing us.
Yeah, they can, but we're also really resilient.
Mm.
We as a species, but also we as Americans, once we actually put our mind to something, America was and still is in a lot of ways the place for ideas and the place for dogged pursuit of those ideas.
Mm.
For good or for ill, that's what we are. And if we put our brain to something, we make that shit happen. So
I feel like we're about to start chanting USA.
USA, USA.
Are we as Americans just the greatest?
At some things,
Lovers.
no, that's reserved for Spanish women. But now that we know direct human influence is a key driver of the greening of Earth, we need to factor this into our climate models, Namani said. This will help scientists make better predictions about behavior of different Earth systems, which will help countries make better decisions about how and when to take action. So that is kind of addressing the environmental and weather pattern changes as such. Because when you start adding more green to, more trees, more crops, it helps to tie the soil together. If you take a lot of crops up or a lot of trees up and you ruin the root systems, you get flooding, you get landslides, that sort of thing. So planting more and more trees. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, back in the 90s, India had a large problem with landslides. So they'd get these massive monsoon style rains in certain regions and they'd have massive mudslides because their trees had all been taken out. So I think that's probably one of the reasons for the initiative, that they planted 66 million saplings,
which is an insane amount,
in 12 hours.
Yeah.
So going back to the story, I hope that addresses your pessimism some anyway. At least, like I said, when we realize that there's a problem, when we as a society truly realize and put our brains to it, I think that we could get things cleaned up in a quick order, in a short order. But we have to have the majority of people ready to pound it in.
Yeah. I mean, time is pressing.
Yeah.
We are running out of time to actually take action.
Yeah. And it's even less the, clean energy thing, which I'll get to in a minute as well. But I'll let you pop in with a story if you'd like.
Okay.
But to wrap up, as much as I enjoy alternative forms of energy that are, what's the word for it? Renewable energies. The more pressing issue is really what is happening to items that are recyclable. And I started on the track of milkmen back in the day having their milk jars and us sending them back to be cleaned and reused. That is something that we can absolutely do again. There is no reason why we couldn't.
I agree.
I mean, we see a lot of, especially in like Aldi, you see a lot of really neat glass bottles. A lot of things that are in glass jars.
Yeah.
I have several glass jars at home here that I have rescued. Repurposed, yeah. And I mean, a lot of them I'm not actually using, but occasionally I do. When I made the Skyline chili, I put it inside of a salsa jar that I had. It was perfect. Fit perfect.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I mean, we can do our part by looking at where our recycling is actually going, making sure that it is being recycled to the best of its ability, but also doing our part on the forefront as consumers by buying items that are in easily recyclable packaging, or buying packaging that we can repurpose and reuse ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Or even give to other people and say, hey, I have this extra jar. Here's some stuff in it. Make some fucking cookies or candy to throw into it. And here's a gift.
Yeah.
Don't throw that jar away, though, because this is my recycling.
Because I'm coming back to check you out.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to make sure that you have this goddamn jar.
In 10 years, you better have this fucking jar. Yeah. But, I mean, it gives you an in to explain why you're giving them a used jar,
Yeah.
And you can have that conversation. So I think that's important as well.
So you're talking street level.
Yeah, street level. I mean, it's the change has to start at street level. The people have to be willing to bring it to their attention instead of just glossing over it, like we all do, even me. I'm not saying that I'm the best recycler out there. There's tons of stuff that I throw away that's recyclable.
Yeah, the amount of trash that I create is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but okay, let's get to your story or stories.
What do you think about Satan, Remington?
I mean, it's a myth.
Yeah. So you don't believe in our Dark Lord Satan?
I don't believe
Beelzebub?
in anything. So, for those of you who don't know, Brandon is an atheist, and I'm an agnostic.
Yes.
So, I believe in the possibility of things, but I don't have any proof to convince me. So, I'm not a faith-driven person or a hope-driven person. I have faith in my own self.
Well, maybe this movie will change your mind.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
There's a new documentary coming out called Hail Satan? Releasing later this year.
Okay.
This documentary aims to tackle Satanism stereotypes and how this religious group, which is gaining a lot of traction domestically and internationally, isn't necessarily only tackling worship. To them, it's more about politics and how they'll challenge the dynamics of church and state in America.
Okay.
So, for those who aren't aware of it, the Church of Satan likes to stir the pot, rock the boat,
right,
as it were, by challenging different things. Their big one was in Georgia where they put the 10 Commandments on the courthouse lawn.
Right.
And they fought successfully to also have a statue of Baphomet put on the courthouse lawn.
Yeah. So they won that case?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And they said that, like, no, if you're going to do this, you have to let all religions, because
if they want to have a representation at the courthouse, you have to let them have it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of separation of church and state, you can't do that.
Right. So I'll pop over and we'll play the trailer for it.
Okay. These Satanist guys look exactly like what you would imagine they would look like, though, don't they?
Oh, yeah. They absolutely do.
It's a beautiful day here at the state capitol. Great day to be a Satanist. I believe it, and I'm very excited about it. We're not what you think we are.
The Satanic Temple was an idea between a handful of people directly confronting authority.
This makes life fun.
State officials have put up a 10 Commandments monument on government property.
Satanists are demanding equal rights.
I am a tax-paying member of Arkansas, and I don't want that there.
They just want to irritate.
The Satanic Temple says you also need to put up our monument to Satanism.
As a Satanist, I believe that confronting injustice is an expression of one's satanic faith.
You see Christian theocracy just creeping itself into our government, and it is our duty to stand up to this.
We want people to evaluate the United States being a Christian nation. It's not. We are supposed to be a nation that doesn't allow the government to dictate what is appropriate religious expression.
Satanists sue Missouri.
If we're being sued by the Satanic Temple,
we gotta be doing something right.
It's our goal to shut down their agenda, which is to bring death and destruction.
You guys are horrible people.
Is this how everyone that's different is treated?
It is out of not only Satanism, but patriotism that I am motivated.
Satanism is looking out for the other, because we are the other.
I am following a code of ethics, having fellowship with brethren. Why can't that be a religion?
We do indeed invoke Satan.
We have gone from 3 people to 50,000.
There's no doubt that this is my life's work.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Not bad.
Not bad. Oh, so for those of you who were live with us there, that was the trailer for Hail Satan.
Yeah. If you're listening at home, I'm sure there will be a link to it. If not, you can search it on YouTube. It's just Hail Satan with a question mark.
Yeah. I might leave maybe a small snippet of it in there. I might not. So I don't know what I'll do until I get into the editing of it. But so we have this interesting dynamic here because for many, many, many people, Satan is a force of evil.
Yes.
But really, that's the only distinction that's happening here, at least in the trailer that we've seen so far. What we're really seeing is a struggle of proper representation and treating the golden rule, treating people the way you want to be treated, regardless of sex, religion, creed, color, etc.
Yeah, the movie is taking the stance of, why are we being treated differently? Is this how people who have different beliefs are treated in America?
Yeah.
We're going to draw a spotlight to it.
Yeah.
Now, Satanism, by its very nature, the Church of Satan is antagonistic towards Christianity.
Sure.
Because they're choosing the complete opposite God as their God to worship.
Yeah.
So in that case, they're being antagonistic.
Yes.
But they're also showing hypocrisy within the church itself.
Right.
The Christian church, not the Satanic church.
Right, yeah. Love thy neighbor, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, New Testament is all about forgiveness and loving thy neighbor and, being accepting.
Mm-hmm.
You go into the Old Testament and that's when you find the vengeful, wrathful God who punished people and turned them to salt and, flooded the world and...
Yeah. You find the real asshole God.
Yeah. Swallow a motherfucker in a whale and...
In a blue whale.
Yes. In a baleen whale. So he could play the harp on his... I don't know. I'm just making shit up. Yeah.
I like it. You're kind of adding to the Bible. You're doing like a Bible remix.
Yeah. So, I mean, aside from the and not even necessarily aside from the antagonism thing, because I think we need a little antagonism, but it has to be structured. I think that's really important. I think that it has to be structured antagonism because you want to ruffle feathers in order to get people to look at their value systems. You can't just rest on your laurels. Sometimes you got to stir the laurels around a little bit to make it more comfortable, or to flush out the rats that are living under it now.
Living under your laurels?
Yeah. Or to take a look at what your laurels are resting on.
A lot of laurel talk.
Yeah.
A lot of laurel looking.
I mean, I'm being a little, I don't know what the word is, but it's one of those things where it's important to take every once in a while to step back and take a look at your belief structure and your systems, and to make sure that you are staying true to whatever you believe in, not just living in it.
Yeah.
Not just existing in it.
Okay.
We have this, Christianity is rife with doing things in the name of God that were straight bad. The Spanish Inquisition.
Which nobody expected. And then you have the Crusades.
Yep, the Crusades. All in the name of God. Mm-hmm. Yep. And, we see it was the first time around that the Muslims were incredibly persecuted for their beliefs.
Yes.
Of course, they fought back just as valiantly, or intrepidly, I guess would be the better word. And while, I think we're past the holy war thing, at least in the States, I know that there are other parts of the world that are still suffering from religious persecution.
Oh, yeah, extremely.
Absolutely. But here in the States, all of our persecution seems to be vocal more than anything. Mm-hmm. Maybe small pockets of violence here and there, to be expected. We're a large population. Doesn't make it right, just means that it exists, right?
Right.
But if we want to hold ourselves as Americans to the higher standard, to say that we are not, these other countries, which is something that we as Americans do, is say we're better than everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely, we do. I mean, we were just saying it earlier.
Exactly. We have to live by those rules that would make us better. And part of it is the inclusion that a lot of groups are striving for now, but equally as important as letting people believe what they're going to believe.
Right. I mean, that's an intrinsic part of America.
Yeah.
Or it should be.
Yeah.
Is being open to the beliefs of others.
Yeah. We're a melting pot for a reason.
Which is what the Church of Satan is trying to shine a spotlight on.
Yeah.
Is saying, hey, you can't just say Christianity is the one true religion, especially when it comes to states and separation of church and state.
Right.
I was wrong. It was Arkansas, not Georgia.
Yes.
That they put the 10 Commandments on the lawn of.
Right.
But yeah, that's the perfect example of separation of church and state.
Yeah.
What if you're not Christian and you're being hauled into that courthouse and you see the 10 Commandments?
And we see this kind of thing every Christmas too. Where some state government place puts up a
nativity
scene. Yeah, exactly. And it's, well, you're not giving proper representation to Jews during Hanukkah at this point, a couple weeks before, or whatever other religions that happen in Kwanzaa the week after, if I remember correctly, Christmas, or like right during and the week after.
I'm not sure when Kwanzaa is.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Hanukkah happens like a week or two before Christmas, earlier in December, and Kwanzaa is like the week right after Christmas. Okay. I think. The Muslim religion has a lot of different holidays. Some are really more important than the others. There's not really a Muslim Christmas per se, or where you would call like Hanukkah the Jewish Christmas, right? Yeah. You know what I'm getting at.
Because you Christianize it.
You do, yeah. If that is what that's
cute. They have a Jewish Christmas,
right? But holidays that fall in the same month, right? Yeah. So the closest thing I think for the Muslims is one in November. I think there's one at the end of November.
That's a holiday.
That's one of the bigger holidays, but they have a lot of very small holidays throughout the year.
I'm super blind as far as Islamic culture goes, and like Islamic holidays and religion.
Yeah. The only reason I started looking into it is because I have a family member who is a practicing Muslim. So.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh. But that's neither here nor there. The whole point of it is, you have to be willing to set aside your biases and just live with the people next to you and be accepting to whatever they happen to be into, so long as it's not bringing harm to them or others.
So do you think the Church of Satan is going about this the right way or the wrong way?
Well, like you said, they have an antagonistic point of view because they're the dichotomy of Christianity.
Yeah.
But aside from that, yeah, I mean, I think in most cases, if they're doing it properly, yeah, they're doing it the right way. So, bringing that spotlight, doing the documentary. I mean, it could not be the Church of Satan. It could be Calvinists saying this particular set of, 10 Commandments doesn't exactly match the Calvinist Bible's definition of the 10 Commandments.
That's a deep cut, Calvinists.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just the initial thing that I went to. I don't know why Calvinists popped in first, but
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I think that it's going about it the right way, apart from being a little bristly just because it's Satanism.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm excited for this documentary.
Yeah.
I don't know when it's going to release. It's supposed to be sometime this year.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon, because it's something I'm really excited to watch.
Yeah, it looks funny.
Yeah.
It looks interesting. It looks like it'll be a good watch for sure.
I love the horns that the priests wear.
Yeah. For the listeners, I don't know how much of it I'll put it in, but the guy at the end has some flash paper that he's like wearing a robe, and he's got it pulled around himself, and he flicks his hand out and uses some flash paper, and there's just a flame that erupts from his hand, and then he pulls it back in real quick. It's really awkward and funny.
Yeah. I think he has it connected to a tail, because it looks like he has a tail.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wasn't paying that close of attention. It's because the scene pops in and immediately opens up with him flicking the flash paper, and that's the only thing that I saw.
Yeah.
And then him pull it back and then stop and look awkwardly at the camera until the guy goes, "Yeah, that was good," and laughs.
No, he goes, "Not bad."
Or "Not bad," yeah. All right, so I had another one. I'm not going to touch on it too much. Interesting piece of science from Forbes. Scientists have discovered a breakthrough technology, a way to pull CO2 from the atmosphere and turn it back into coal. This new discovery has the potential to change the way we think about CO2. The research recently published in the journal Nature Communications provides a step-by-step guide in turning CO2 into coal, acting to remove the greenhouse gas from the atmosphere and lock it away in solid carbon form. Carbon sequestration. It's a hard one to say again. I'm having a real problem with the big words today.
Sequestration?
Yeah.
I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, too.
The act of removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and locking it away is a growing field aimed at mitigating climate change. Major oil and gas companies like Shell are spending billions of dollars to develop carbon sequestration plants to store CO2 in porous reservoirs within the earth. However, this approach is expensive as it requires CO2 to be compressed into liquid form and injected into rock formations within the earth. Due to cost, this approach is not economically viable without heavy subsidies and or carbon tax to help offset costs. This recent development adds another method to efficiently lock away carbon dioxide in a safe long-term way. This isn't the first time scientists converted carbon dioxide into a solid form. However, previous techniques require extremely high temperatures, making the approach not practical beyond a laboratory setting. So this one is not using high heat to convert. This is more using compression than anything, which compression itself, as you compress something, it heats up anyway. But the paper itself, I looked at the paper. There will be a link to the Forbes article in the show notes below, but that will also have a link to the paper itself, which is very long.
Okay.
It was very long. I was running out of time, so I didn't have a chance to really read it. I skimmed a couple 5 paragraphs. And I was like,
oh God, this is way too long.
But the science itself is really interesting. So if you're into that sort of thing, it'll be a good read.
Yeah, it's an interesting science.
Thanks, Brandon. Good job. What do you have next, buddy?
Thumbs up. This is going back to censorship a little bit.
Okay.
The website Rotten Tomatoes recently changes its review policy after trolling for Captain Marvel goes crazy.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Audiences are no longer allowed to leave a review of a movie before the movie is released.
Fair.
Or leave comments. So there used to be a want to see percentage.
Yeah.
That people would review bomb.
Right.
And bring its review down to 10%, and then leave comments about how shitty the movie was going to be, how they had no interest in seeing it, blah,
right.
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And I think that's fair to kind of cut that off because it keeps people from seeding other people with their own views.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And once the movie comes out, you still have your audience score, you still have your reviews you can leave, so you can still do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes said that it's seen a, quote, uptick in non-constructive input, sometimes bordering on trolling, and has acted accordingly. So
That's
you
fair.
saw this with Captain Marvel, you saw this with Black Panther.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's another movie that did this too. I can't remember what it is. But yeah, just people being shitbags on the internet.
Right, yeah. Which is what the internet is. People being shitbags on it.
I pulled a quote.
Okay.
From a random commenter because Rotten Tomatoes posted this as a memo or as an article basically saying, here's all our changes we're going to do.
Right.
And then had comments.
Yeah.
This is kind of a long comment, but I saved it for posterity.
Okay.
This is from a guy named Earl Salisbury.
Okay.
Captain Marvel was a bad decision to shoehorn in at this point. Story structure issues aside here big time. Bad writing. A multiple failure of a comic. Somehow they just had to make a movie of it? Something ain't right. I was already going to boycott it, as well as Endgame. But now it is war. They want to silence my voice? Oh, I don't think so. SJW morons don't realize that they are going to lose this war. They are a tiny minority of weak, pathetic idiots desperately screaming for attention from their cribs, and we have tolerated their bull long enough. It is time for a spanking.
Oh, God.
Can we go ahead and nominate Earl Salisbury for Fuck Shit of the Week?
Sure. Yeah, I'm down with that. I absolutely agree with just people whining. There's a lot of whining that's going on, but there's not a lot of people working together to make anything better. To an extent. I mean, there are a lot of people that are working to make things better, but they seem to fall by the wayside, drowned in people just yelling at each other, which is unfortunate. So.
Well, and the irony of his comment is calling people crybabies as he's saying, I'm going to boycott this movie.
As he's being a crybaby.
Yeah, as he's being the biggest crybaby of all time.
SJWs. Yeah. Exactly.
I think Captain Marvel looks good. I'm going to take my daughter to see it when it comes out.
I think it looks good too. I think that
Brie Larson
really did alienate some people, but she is also allowed to have her opinions.
Yeah.
So whatever. I'm not going to watch Brie Larson act. I'm going to watch a movie for enjoyment.
Mm.
You know, it's not a fucking college paper on the acting ability of Brie Larson. I don't give a shit what her views are. I'm going to go watch the movie for whatever I'm going to watch.
Yeah, Brie Larson isn't coming to your house for dinner to talk to your grandparents.
Yeah.
You're watching Brie Larson play Captain Marvel.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the complaints...
You can replace her with anybody else and I'd still go watch the movie.
One of the complaints I've seen people say about this movie is that they're afraid that they're going to have Captain Marvel be kind of the Deus Ex Machina of the Avengers Endgame. That they're going to have her Captain Marvel movie, show how super powerful she is.
Yeah.
And then in Endgame, Captain Marvel's going to swoop in and defeat Thanos, defeating all of the years that they've put into developing these characters.
I don't know if any of these... I know that there are a lot of people out there who have fallen in love with these movies and don't understand how comics work. That's how comics work. Yeah. You have a Deus Ex Machina character who is an Omega level power who comes in, swoops up, cleans up the mess, and then takes the fuck back off.
Yeah.
And then shit starts rolling again. That's how it works in the comic book world. Is it lazy writing? Kinda. But what other answer do you fucking have?
And I would be very surprised if the Marvel writers did that and didn't give Captain America and Iron Man their due.
Right.
They're still going, even if this happens, even if Captain Marvel does swoop in and defeat Thanos by herself, it's not going to be by herself.
Yeah.
Every character that has been led up to this point is going to have something important to do that you can point to later and say, oh, boom, Captain America sucked off Thanos, which distracted him at the right time for Captain Marvel to uppercut him.
Yeah.
Iron Man diddled his beehole with his repulsor jets.
I kind of want to see your movie now. Fucking shitbags to the internet people, and then wow to
the comments.
Yeah, the comment. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there is going to be a lot of shitbags when it comes to Aladdin because, yes, it is a classic, and yes, Robin Williams was an amazing genie, but I'm also excited with a modern day Aladdin, or what a modern day Aladdin is going to look like. Yes, it did just become a porno.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a porno. It can be tastefully done. It's Marvel. They follow the Marvel script.
In Brandon's mind, everything is a porno.
So, Aladdin?
Yeah. What are your feelings on Aladdin?
I don't get the genie hate. I think Will Smith looks good as the genie.
I don't hate the genie. I don't hate any aspect of it. I hate the fact that it's being made.
Yeah.
That's where my issue comes in with it. And I'd still like to go see it. I mean, it's a Disney movie. It's going to be good. Most of the time they are.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, just do another 10-year anniversary of re-releasing the cartoon into theaters. It was so good. All of those are so good. Why re-release them?
Aladdin is hands down my favorite Disney movie.
Yeah.
My favorite animated Disney movie.
It was my favorite right up until The Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah. I know you're a big fan of that one.
I am. I really loved all of the comedy in that. It was really good. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, it just feels like a cash grab for nostalgia reasons, which it is, and whatever, you know, it's Disney will do what Disney is going to do, and people will love it, and that's just how it'll work, and they'll make billions and billions more dollars each year.
Yeah.
So I wanted to cover some other movie news real quick, since we were talking about movie news there. We have a new trailer for the Dark Phoenix X-Men movie.
Which I have not seen yet.
Which Brandon has not seen, so we're going to pop on over and watch that shit here in just a second.
Why did you make me do that?
Look at me. Focus on my voice. I'm not giving up on you, Jean.
She was my friend.
You're my family, Jean. Stop, no matter what.
Stop.
You're special, Jean. And if you stop fighting that force inside you, if you embrace it, you will possess the very power of a god.
쇼키라서
Tell me how we fix this, Charles. Tell me what to do. I don't know what to do.
No, they don't understand. They fear, and what they fear, we seek to destroy.
This is your fault, Charles. I tried to protect her.
I'm scared. When I lose control, bad things happen to people I love.
The girl dies.
She's still Jean. We can still help her.
Sometimes you want to believe people are something that they are not. By the time you realize who they are, it's too late.
She's coming.
So there we go. We have the Omega level mutant.
Yeah. The Deus Ex Machina.
Yep, there it is. Making its appearance, and that's how comic books go.
Mm-hmm. I was kind of on the fence about Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
It really was not as good as I was hoping it was going to be.
Right.
So Dark Phoenix, it's not one I'm going to see in theaters, I don't think.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Just because you don't want to be disappointed?
Yeah. It's one I'll wait till it comes out and I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
I'll rent it on
Netflix or
on Xbox Video, probably.
Yeah. Uh-huh. We also have Shazam is set up to be the next big thing from DC. I believe we watched the trailer either actually on the episode or before it one day. It looked hilarious.
Yeah.
It looks super, super good. It's set up to do slightly under what Aquaman opened up with, but expected to exceed the money that Aquaman has made so far.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
I don't know if I can expect Shazam to beat Aquaman.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
It just doesn't have the sex appeal that Aquaman did.
Are you saying that the only thing that is really making that movie money is
Jason Momoa? Yes.
Sweet, sweet Jason Momoa?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I am.
My second man crush, I think I can safely say.
Next to
Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down. Give me Van Wilder or give me death.
Van Wilder was such a good movie.
It was.
Did you see the little vignette that Ryan Reynolds did about playing Detective Pikachu?
Uh-uh.
Oh my god, it's hilarious.
Oh, yeah? I'll have to watch that later.
He's talking about how he gets into character to play Detective Pikachu.
Okay.
And he's like, I really have to put myself into the mind of this small character. And he's like, I was on my way to pick up my two beautiful children when I got the call that I was playing Pikachu. So I immediately turned around and I didn't pick up my kids because Pikachu doesn't have kids. And it just goes on from there. It's got his wife in it.
He's a true method actor. Yeah. He really is.
But yeah, Blake Lively's in it too, talking about it, how they're not going to go see the movie and how they're not impressed that he's playing Detective Pikachu. And it's really funny. It's like 2 minutes long.
That is funny. Aquaman's tracking estimated that the film would make $60 million domestically and ended up making slightly more than that. With that in mind, it will certainly be interesting to see exactly how Shazam's box office numbers really shake out. This places the film ever so slightly under the projections of other DCU films, but still on track to win that box office weekend as it opens alongside Pet Sematary and The Best Enemies. Shazam will follow Billy Batson, Asher Angel, as a foster kid who is given the ability to turn into an adult superhero, Zachary Levi, after he is granted powers by an ancient wizard. And finally, in movie news, I wanted to bring this one up real quick, it turns out that Will Smith will not return to be Deadshot in Suicide Squad 2.
There was a rumor that he was going to return.
Right.
That he and Margot Robbie were going to be
the only two returning cast members, yeah. Margot Robbie is still going to be in it. She is, of course, working on Birds of Prey as well, which is the story of a bunch of DC female characters who kind of get together and do the crime fighting thing.
Yeah.
Not Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn has always kind of walked this line between good and evil, and she's worked with good characters, and she's worked with the Joker being a little psycho. The first Suicide Squad, as Tony suggested, sucked. I haven't watched it fully. I've seen some scenes from it. But we also have James Gunn directing this one.
Yeah.
So I expect it to be better because I hold James Gunn to a high caliber.
As you should. He's a good director.
He is. So
there was a new Pokemon announced, Remington. Have you heard about this?
I have, yeah.
It's called Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield.
Oh, is it are they doing the 2-game release like
As
that? As
always, yeah.
Okay. I figured, but
it's coming out sometime this year, probably November, for the Nintendo Switch, which is a bummer because I don't have a Switch, so I won't be able to play it.
Right.
And I probably won't buy a Switch.
Yeah. I really want a Switch, though.
I know, I really want one, too.
Just buy one, Brandon, and I'll come play with you.
You won't come play with me. You've been to my apartment like 3 times ever.
That's because you don't have a Switch.
Damn.
Fucking duh.
I have an Xbox One. We could play all kinds of fun games.
Give a shit about the Xbox One. I can play all the Xbox games on my computer.
Not all of them.
All the ones that I care about. Sea of Thieves. That's it.
It's set in the Galar region or Galar region. I'm not sure how it's pronounced.
Okay.
It looks like it's based off of UK architecture.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was reading another article earlier that it kind of seems like it was placed in the British countrysides.
And there's 3 new starters. If you scroll down, I might be able to see their names because I don't remember their names. You have a little monkey grass type called Grookey, a fire rabbit named Scorbunny, and a water type named Sobble that looks like a lizard chameleon of some kind. It looks good. I mean, I would love to, like I said, I would love to own a Switch.
Yeah.
My older brother has been talking about getting a Switch forever. He just bought one, and he's kind of mixed feelings on it so far.
Oh, really? Did he say why?
The controllers are so small.
Oh, yeah.
Which they are. They're made for baby hands.
Yeah, it's true. They are.
I'm just disappointed that it's not coming out on the 3DS anymore.
Yeah.
I love my 3DS. I've been playing it, like I mentioned earlier, Final Fantasy Tactics. I also bought Animal Crossing for it. I was playing that some.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm missing out on the new generation of Pokemon, and I'm always in on ground floor of Pokemon.
Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe you'll finally bite the bullet and just buy one just for the hell of it anyway.
I might. Maybe after taxes, I'll buy one.
Yeah. So does that wrap us up then?
Yep, that's all I have.
Okay. So that wraps us up for this evening. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you all so much for listening once the audio version comes out. If you have any questions or comments, or you'd like to hear yourself on air, you can call us at 978 DU-OGRES. That's 978-386-4737. You can also reach us on Twitter at Dueling Ogres, email us at duelingogres@gmail.com, or leave a comment on the Facebook page like these nice people. Brandon, are you ready?
I was, and then I hit the back button on
Yeah. That's fine. It happens.
I clicked on Boost Post, and then I went to Exit Boost Post, and it just took me back to the main Facebook page.
Yeah. Fucking jokes.
Like some kind of chump. Our first comment is from the Viscount Terry W. Irvin II, who comments and says, "It is really amazing how a species can be rediscovered after decades, especially in remote regions."
Speaking about the giant bee found in Indonesia.
Walter's bee?
Walter's bee, yep.
In reference to comment last episode, Brandon had mentioned how lame/dismissive he thought people simply replying with a thumbs up is.
Right.
Guess my comment fell flat, thumbs down. I realized after you left this comment, Terry, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Hope to see you gents at the Classic Plastics Toy and Comic Expo this weekend.
Yep.
You will.
Yep.
We also got a comment from Jordan Lowe.
Of course, not to cut you off. We'll get to Jordan's comment in just a second. this episode will probably come out after the Classic Plastics Toy and Comic Expo.
Oh, yeah.
The Classic Plastics Expo.
Toy and Comics Expo. Classic Plastics.
No, I think he reduced the name, didn't he?
Did he? I don't know.
I think so. It used to be the Classic Plastics Toy and Comic Expo, which is a mouthful. But still fun to say.
Yes.
So, but yeah. Anyway, Jordan's comment.
Comment from Jordan of the Kapow, the Pop Cultured Podcast and Asylum Comics fame.
Yes. One of those is our podcast rivals, and the other one is a cool comic shop in Marietta.
Yeah.
Yep.
Marietta, Ohio.
Yes.
In order to hold myself to a higher standard, as DC's Mr. DiDio suggests, I have no complaints to share about owning a comic shop. Like all brick and mortar retail, our industry is in terrific shape and nothing should ever change. On an unrelated note, did Rem's dog finish that whole cheeseburger, or are there any leftovers you could hook a brother up with?
Is this the first time you read that one? I could tell by your reaction.
That was good.
Yeah, that was good, Jordan. Thank you.
Yeah, Jordan owns a comic book shop, so he's referring to last week's episode. If you didn't listen to it, go download last week's episode and give it a listen.
Yeah. Make sure to subscribe on our website at duelingogres.com for news, shows, and articles pertaining to the subject for favorite geek news. If you would like to write some articles, I'm really kind of itching. Doing all this writing for English, it really makes me want to get back into writing articles for the website.
Yeah.
But I would love to have more people with more points of view on gaming or movies or fucking sports. I don't care. I don't want religion, really, and I don't want politics unless it's just a cursory look at them.
Like somebody writing about the politics of Brie Larson and the downvotes on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
That's acceptable.
Yeah, that's acceptable. But if you're just coming up and slamming on Trump or slamming on
Bernie Sanders
or whoever happens to be the hot shit at that moment, I don't want that. But anything else, absolutely. If you've got an itch to write something, even if you think you're bad at writing, but you'd really want to have people, discuss your stuff, shoot us an email at duelingogres.com or duelingogres@gmail.com. That's fine. I have other emails as well. You can also email bloggers at duelingogres.com if you don't want it to get lost in the slew of fucking junk mail that I get in Dueling Ogres.
We get a lot of junk mail in that Dueling Ogres folder.
Yeah. And, they don't have to be, it doesn't have to be a fucking college level paper either, a few paragraphs. 300 words, I think, is what you want to shoot for.
Yeah.
Not that big of a thing. So, but yeah, if you want to ever talk about stuff, you want to get your words out there, let us know. Be happy to publish you. And finally, be sure to find us on YouTube, where the live video will be posted as well as the audio version of the podcast, or anywhere else you can find a podcast, like iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts. What are some of the other ones? Podbean.
Podcast Addict is what I use.
Podcast Addict. Any of them, most of them pull from the iTunes catalog.
Yeah.
So,
which is why it's important to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes.
Yep.
Because that shows up, that boosts us everywhere.
Yes. Higher on the cool kids list.
As it were.
As it were. So until next week, Ogres, keep your clubs blunt.
And your tusks sharp.
Good night. Damn. All of a sudden, haven't sneezed all freaking day long, and now, while I'm live on the podcast, now I have shit to edit out. Yay me.
Way to go, Rem's body.
Yeah, way to go, nostrils.
Oh, yeah.
Kilbra, thank you. How's it going? How was your stream? I'll come back to you in just a second. I'm going to finish reading what I was reading. It's all right. It's all right, man. I appreciate the host. Did you just finished up your stream, I take it? Sea of Thieves. Oh, that's right. I saw you were telling Pansy you were going to play some Sea of Thieves. Ah, I'm jelly. I want to play some Sea. I think Steve said that he wasn't going to get on until like 8 or 9 tonight. So maybe I'll be able to, like, sneak aboard his crew, hijack his vessel, and make him walk the plank.
Yar, kiss him on his lips.
Just give him the big smooches, yar.
Honk his tuchus with me hook.
What's up, Tony? How you doing, buddy?
You fat snowflake.
Far too fat to be a snowflake. That would just be an ice crystal, like an ice cube.
Yeah.
Or maybe an iceberg falling from the sky. Which one, Meg? Aladdin or Emperor's New Groove? You better say Emperor's New Groove, just saying.
Emperor's New Groove was meh.
No, it was fantastic. I pointedly disagree with you, sir. And it had no music. Ish. Mostly.
Yeah, see, I love the musicals.
Yeah.
I'm a big musical fan, though. You know that.
Aladdin. I mean, I know all of the songs.
In Aladdin?
Yeah, almost all of them. I can sing all of the Robin Williams ones to you, for sure. The Titanic singer, yeah. That's me. They call me the old Titanic singer. They call me the old Widowmaker.
The old Widowmaker.
Sing them all right now. You can go fuck yourself, Tony.
A Goofy movie girl?
Goofy movie. I had a love and hate relationship with the Goofy movie.
Hot Dad Soup.
Hot Dad Soup. How many cups of sugar does it take to get to the moon? Shut up, Meg. But I had a love and hate relationship because Max was such a little fuck shit in that movie. And that even as a younger guy, I was like, nope, you don't talk to your parents that way. You little fuckface, what are you doing? You little shitbag. Learn some respect. He's a single father, you piece of garbage. Jeez.
You're like 10-year-old Remington just shaking your fist at the TV.
Yes. But that's only because from my perspective, if I would have treated my parents that way, I would have been thrown through a wall.
Yeah.
So there was that. Anarchy Burger, hold the government! Anarchy Burger, hold the government! America stands for freedom, but if you think you're free, try walking into a deli and urinating on the cheese!
I'm going to have to listen to that song on the way home now. I haven't listened to Anarchy Burger in a long time.
Oh, that's a good one.
I still listen to the Vandals pretty regularly, though.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What has Greener got that I don't got? Great tits, Meg.
Wow.
The people who love you know you better, Tony. And the people who know you a little bit better than that know that they're justified in hating you, but still loving you at the same time. So that's the true love-hate relationship. They are. It's okay. Yes. Except for that middle number of them who don't know any better.
What, people who hate Fat Tony?
Yeah.
I like Fat Tony.
See? Brandon doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
I love Tony too. He's
I love
wonderful.
him more.
I'm glad that he is in our group, and I'm glad to know him for sure. And Meg as well. Greener, I mean, yeah, he's got his own sound, but come to Dueling Ogres if you want to be self-deprecated on.
Yeah.
Self-deprecation. Brandon is a stupa beach? Yes. The real pleasantly plump Tony. Yeah, Tony, just DM me and we'll discuss how to make it happen.
300 monies.
300 monies. Or pay me in sex, I guess. Because
yeah, you can do that. Remington takes sex for payment all the time.
Constantly, especially from Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
Has been that way for years.
Have for years.
Yeah.
Since you knew me.
Mm-hmm.
Since it was illegal for us to have sex.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it was ever illegal. Just frowned upon.
For two 14-year-olds to have sex?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, no, that's not illegal.
I don't know. I'm not as familiar with the underage sex laws as you are, Remington.
Fuck you, you piece of shit. All right. Moving on.
Here's the porn again. Yeah.
Yeah, here's the porn again. Oh, hold on. Meg's got a joke for us. Hey. What's the dirtiest animal on the farm? I don't know, Meg. What is the dirtiest animal on the farm? Brown chicken, brown cow.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
Yep. The farmer's daughter. Also true. Only slightly less dirty than the pastor's daughter, though.
The pastor's daughter?
Yes. Not pasture, but pastor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, my dad is a pastor now, so you can't make those kind of jokes.
That's true. That's fair. I mean, I can. We just have to make sure that he doesn't hear it.
Yeah, that's true. He would be very disappointed to listen to this podcast.
He would have been very disappointed at any point to listen to this podcast. Okay, well, you find that video, send it to me, and I'll watch it and do all the fucking work for you like I do with everything else, Tony. There's no bitterness.
Yeah, none at all.
No. Jeez.
Jeez Louise, Tony.
Table flip. I was feeding off of Meg's emotion.
What's she flipping a desk about?
I don't know. What are you flipping a desk about, Meg?
That Will Smith isn't returning for Suicide Squad 2?
Or that Margot Robbie is
in Birds of Prey?
In Birds of Prey? Or that you hadn't heard of Birds of Prey? Seriously, though, find that video and send it to me, Tony. Give it to me. Give it to me hard. Give it to me fast. And then give it to me slow. And it turns into a porno again.
Yeah, seriously.
That Will Smith isn't returning. Okay.
We're vape buddies.
And now nobody can see us. Quick, make out. Never mind.
That's what the ladies see coming at him.
See you literally the whole time. Yep. Well, Tony's over here telling me to suck dick. As if that's never happened before. It hasn't. But sometimes we play it that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
All right.
Oh, new Pokemon was announced.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You were going to talk about that. Yep. Let's do that one and then wrap up.
I closed my notes.
You piece of shit. I've got it.
It's called Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Hold on, I got it.
It's 8th generation.
Will you just hold on a second?
It's set in something that looks like the UK.
I have it, you piece of shit.
I've got it in my brain.
You don't need brains. I have computers.
Computer? What is a computer, Remington, but a digital brain? So yeah, I'm not very excited about it because I don't have a Switch.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't get to play it.
Well, will you at least retell the story again? And since I was comically cutting you off at every turn?
No.
Please?
I'm just following along with whatever you're doing now.
Slap bass. Drop the lurk. Cheeseburgers!
It's like a whole different language you speak on Twitch that I don't understand. It's a whole different side of you.
Yeah. You will. Once we get you all set up, you will. You'll understand it.
And I'll just randomly yell cheeseburgers too?
Yes.
I don't think I want to live in that world.
Yeah, you do. It's a fun world.
I do. I want friends.
Maybe if Brandon knew who Cheeseburger Tony was, he'd understand.
Is Cheeseburger Tony a Fat Tony character?
I don't remember that. I don't know. Tony does a lot of fucking hilarious stuff. Yeah, the other Dueling Ogre. At least he puts you on equal standing.
Yeah, I appreciate
You're the other. You're not the
co-host.
You're not the lesser. You're the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
The Stupa Ogre. Wait, now you have to clarify because that could go either way.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Which one of us is the stupid ogre? Dueling Ogres too. Well, I don't know. Tony said it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I'll be the Stupa Ogre.
Stupa Beach. You are too late. You are tardy to the Dueling Ogre party. 3-pounder, you need to quit dropping the ball, man.
Yeah. Ball has been dropped.
Get it. Get it.
Get that ball.
Yeah. All right. Let's see who is online. Thank you all so much. Yep, now it's the after party. Thank you all so much for watching and hanging out. Can I start over? You can go fuck yourself, sir.
Hello, ogres, and welcome to episode 184. Thank you for joining us, as always, on this hellish Thursday evening. Earth date, February 28th, 2019. I'm your host, Remington Hitchcock, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Brandon Fall.
Hello, my name. That's exactly what I sound like. You do such a good impression of me.
You do such a good impression of me.
See, it's fucking...
It's like there's two of you in the room.
Spot on. I don't even know. I think I'm talking to myself now.
I think Remington.
If you had another 100 pounds on you, it would be like looking into a mirror that has glasses.